The ongoing standoff between Indian and Chinese forces in eastern Ladakh has had a profound impact on bilateral relations. In June last year, the clash along the Galwan Valley led to the first loss of life in a conflict between the two sides in over 4 decades. And while the clash had led to increased tensions and frantic diplomacy, the standoff has persisted. This has had serious implications for the future of the India-China relationship. For starters, after 13 months of friction and 11 rounds of Corps Commander level talks, all that has been achieved is partial disengagement at Galwan and Pangong So. Disengagement along other friction points remains stalled, with sides having very different aims from the talks. The longer the situation persists, the more difficult it will be to address the political mistrust that it generates. Significantly, this high-level political mistrust is rapidly trickling down into popular discourse and public sentiment in both countries. Even before the Galwan Valley clash, the Indian strategic affairs community viewed China's rise as the most significant external challenge for India. Also, Indian public opinion of China, although never overwhelmingly positive, has been steadily worsening. A Pew survey in 2019 found that only 23% of Indians viewed China favorably. The enthusiastic support by the public and trading community to the campaign to boycott Chinese goods, especially last year, is an indicator that this number is likely to have sustained if not fallen further. In China, the public acknowledgement of 4 fatalities in Galwan was a departure from the general trend. This has been accompanied by media reports eulogizing and honoring the PLA's martyrs. Such discussions are a part of the renewed focus on nationalism and ideology in Chinese discourse on foreign policy. They not only shape public consciousness about the threat from India, but also emphasize the self-perception of China as a major power. Another key fallout of the ongoing standoff is that Indian policymakers seem to have adopted a clearer position in terms of ties with the US and other like-minded partners. At the same time, they have sought to impose economic costs on China. This shift has accompanied the message to Beijing that the border issue cannot be de-linked from other aspects of the bilateral relationship. The Chinese side has responded to this by stressing its manufacturing prowess, centrality to key global supply chains, and the importance of the trade relationship to underscore its indispensability as an economic partner for India. Indeed, the India-China trading relationship has thrived despite the COVID-19 pandemic and tensions in Ladakh. However, there is a greater desire among Indian policymakers to reduce economic dependence on China, particularly in critical sectors. The recent decision of keeping Chinese vendors out of India's 5G ecosystem is an example of this. Finally, the PLA's adventurism last year indicates that the caution that the disputed boundary had engendered for the past few decades might no longer sustain as it once did. Also, India's advantage in the Indian Ocean region and China's increasing stake there create a new dynamic between the two countries. At the same time, there are areas where evidently both sides seem to enjoy commonality of interests. For instance, India has been extremely cautious in refraining from commenting about Beijing's policies in Hong Kong, Tibet, and Xinjiang. Even with regard to the Taiwan issue or the matter of the probe into the origins of COVID-19, Indian policy has been marked by restraint. But none of this is unlikely to inhibit the relationship from drifting into a more competitive state. Of course, all this can change to an extent if Xi Jinping decides to reassess China's approach to India, particularly the boundary issue. Hope, however, is not a good policy. But if you want to watch more such videos, then do hit the like button and press the bell icon. That is definitely a good policy. To know more about our research, courses and events, follow us on Twitter and Instagram or visit our website.